Alright, so today I'm going to be ranking UFC weight divisions from worst to best. Let's get started. For the first division, I got flyweight. Now, it's a solid division. I wouldn't say it's a bad division. I wouldn't say this division's shit, it's done. I think this division can carry on for a while, but compared to some of the other divisions, it's just not on the same level. Now, if you look at skill, this is arguably the most skilled division in the UFC. I would say it probably is. But I'm doing this more based off of just how good of a division. Not in terms of skill, in terms of hype, entertainment. Like, compared to, like, what do I like the most? What division do I like the most? This is what I personally like the most. And if I look at this division, you got Royval, Moreno, Abazi, Kaikar, France, the top four. That's solid. That's a solid top four. But as you start to go down, you got guys like Mateus Nicolau. That's number 5. Compare that number 5 to bantamweight, which is Cheeto Vera. I would much rather see a Cheeto Vera fight. Or even lightweight, which is Michael Chandler. Those are two fighters that I'll be 10 times more excited to see fight than Mateus Nicolau. Now, if Mateus Nicolau's fighting and I have the TV on, I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch him fight. If he's on the prelims and then there's 4 or 5 fights between him and the main card, I'm probably not going to turn it on just to watch him. But the division, as you start to go down, starts to get weak. I mean, you got Kape, who's kind of carrying that 6 to 9 range. Manel Kopp and Muhammad Kayev, they're carrying outside of the top 5. Because everybody outside of the top 5, I don't really care about that much. Like Steve Eric, he's got a fight this weekend. I think he does, right? Yeah, he does. He has a fight on the fight night. And I don't care that much. I don't really care that much about seeing him fight. Though the top 4, it's a solid top 4. But even comparing the top 4 of this weight division to other top 4s, like, let's compare it to lightweight. Number 1, Charles Oliveira. That's the number 1 contender at lightweight. Number 1 contender at flyweight, Brandon Royval. Now, come on. In terms of hype, you can't even compare those two. Moreno versus Justin Gaethje. You can't even compare those two. Poirier versus Albazi. You can't even compare those two. Sarukian versus Kaikar France. You can kind of compare them, but I would much rather see Sarukian fight. So overall, it's a solid division. It's a very skilled division. It has its place in the UFC, but I just think I care about the other divisions more. I mean, you can call me a casual for it, but that's just my opinion. If you move up, you got light heavyweight. So that's the next worst division in the UFC. I feel like Alex Pereira is carrying this division a little bit. Now, even Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka, those are great fighters. I love seeing them fight. They're very entertaining. And both of them could co-main a pay-per-view without a title. But as you start to move down a little bit, Magomed, he's a very good fighter, but he's just not super entertaining. Like, if I hear he's fighting, let's say him and Jan are rematching in a 5-round co-main event or fight night main event, I'm not going to care that much. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to watch. I'm definitely going to watch, but I'm not going to care as much as if Gilbert Burns was fighting Shavkat. Now that I would care way more about. That's number 4 versus number 3 in welterweight. If you compare that to number 4 versus number 3 in light heavyweight, which would be Magomed and Goliath versus Jan 2, I care a lot more about Magomed versus, or I care a lot less about Magomed versus Jan. But Yuri, man, if Yuri gets announced to fight, that guy, he's exciting. I think that they did him dirty by having him fight Rockage, because Rockage is boring. So they should have put him against, like, Roundtree. That would have been sick. But, yeah, with this division, too, as you start to go outside of the top 4, it has the same problem as flyweight. Some of the people are a little bit, not no-names, but they're not the same as the other divisions. Like, you got number 5, Rockage. Number 6, Nikita Krylov. Johnny Walker at number 7. That's a good fighter. It's a solid fighter. He brings entertainment. He brings hype. Roundtree number 8. He's a very entertaining fighter, but he doesn't have the hype as same hype as Johnny Walker. But I do like seeing Roundtree fight. Volkan. I know that dude, but it's hard to pronounce his last name. Volkan. I mean, he's not a bad fighter, but I don't really care that much. Ryan Spann, Menfield, Dustin Jacoby, like, these guys, you just don't care as much to see them fight, if I'm being honest. Like, you compare Alonzo Meadowfield, who is 12 at light heavyweight, compare that to number 12 at middleweight, Paul Craig. I mean, it's kind of close. I'd rather see Paul Craig fight, though. But if you look at middleweight, Hamza Chimaev's number 11. Compare that to Ryan Spann versus Hamza. Come on, that's not even a comparison. Now, this division, I feel like, I'm going to say it again, Alex Pereira's carrying it, bro. He's kind of carrying it. Like, if you look at what champions am I most excited to see fight, Alex Pereira's top 3, top 2. Dude, Alex Pereira, he brings the hype for his fights, but as you start to get outside of the top four, same problem as flyweight. Some of the guys you don't care as much about. And even as you start to get outside of the top two, you still got solid fighters, but they're just not as entertaining as like a Justin Gaethje. You can't compare hype with Magomed and Justin Gaethje. You just can't. You can't do it. Even Dustin Poirier and Magomed, you can't compare those two in terms of hype. But yeah, let's move up. You got heavyweight. Heavyweight now it's a solid division. Heavyweight's in a good spot right now. You got John Jones, greatest of all time, as champion. You got Cyril Gane, who's number two. Or you got Tom Aspinall, interim champion, who just fucking destroyed Sergey, who's another beast. You got Cyril Gane, who's an amazing striker. The dude moves like a middleweight or a welterweight. You got Sergey Pavlovich, who's fucking a beast. You got Stipe, who's a former amazing champion. You got Curtis Blades, Volkov, Almeida, Spivak, Ty, Tabura, Derek Lewis. Now, this kind of has outside of the top five, it starts to get a little shit, but it's a lot better than flyweight and a lot better than flyweight and light heavyweight. Like, they got Derek Lewis at 10, Tai Tuivasa at 9, Jalton Almeida at 7, Volkov at 6. Like, there's a lot of guys that I care about outside of the top five, and even in the top five, these guys, I would much rather see a Tom Aspinall fight than a Royval fight. I would much rather see a Gane fight than a Moreno fight. I mean, that's a little bit closer, but I'd much rather see a Spivak fight or Sergey fight than a Albazi fight. Like, these guys, you just have more hype to see them fight, especially because one punch can change everything, and you get the greatest of all time in this division too. But if you just compare it to the divisions above it, like featherweight and lightweight, middleweight, those divisions, they just got a little bit more. It's a little bit more well-rounded. As you start to go down, you got more guys that you care about, and it's just a little bit more competitive at the top level, I guess. But this division's solid. It competes with the divisions above it. Like, you could have an argument for putting this a little bit higher on the list, but right now I'm just gonna have it at this spot because I feel like the divisions above it, it's more all-rounded. They got a more all-rounded top, and the guys at the top, like if you can even compare Justin Gaethje to Sergey, now entertaining wise, they're close, but you always got more hype for a Poirier fight than a Sergey fight, or a Justin Gaethje fight than a Sergey's fight, because those guys are just more well-rounded, well, not more well-rounded, but they've been around longer. You know more about them. So yeah, that's what I got heavyweight at. Let's move up. I got middleweight. Now middleweight, it used to be shit, but it's making a little bit of a resurgence. You still got Izzy there. You got Dricus, who's fucking made a crazy run. Nobody expected him to be good. When you saw him fighting Darren Till, there was points where people thought he was about to lose that fight, and then he goes on to beat fucking Whitaker and Strickland. So you got Dricus, you got Strickland, you got Izzy, Whitaker, Cannonier. This division's shaping up to be good, and you got a lot of great prospects too. You got Hamzat, who's there now. You got Anthony Hernandez, who's doing pretty good for himself. Who else? You got Ikram, who's up and coming. He's not ranked yet, but this division's really starting to get better. You got Costa, Brendan Allen, Amavov, Jack. He's not really Jack Hermanson isn't a prospect, but he's still there. He's still a good gatekeeper. But yeah, if you compare why I have it lower than the other ones, I mean, I think the next closest, or well, that would reveal my next spot on the list. But yeah, if you look at the next one, it's close. But after that, I feel like the divisions above it are much better. But this division, it's starting to come up a bit, and maybe give it another year or two. I don't know if it's going to go up or down from there, but if it starts to go up some more, I might put it a little bit higher in this list. I think it's really starting to make a comeback, and it's a solid division, but I feel like the divisions above it are a little bit better. If you go to next one, you got featherweight. Ilia Topuria, Volk, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, Yair. This is a fucking good division. It's a solid division. You got Ilia Topuria, the new up-and-coming star. Volk, who is just a long-running champion. You got Max Holloway, who's been beating everybody besides Volk. You got Brian Ortega, who's a little inactive, but he brings it, man. He can take some punishment. He can get and find the submission. You got Yair Rodriguez, who's a crazy striker. And then when you got outside of that top four, you still got some fucking entertaining fighters. You got Moskar. He's a little boring, but he's an undefeated fighter. You got Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, Cater, Chikadze, Bryce Mitchell, Edson Barboza, Dan Ige. Like, even outside of that top five, you still got good fighters. See, this is why I have flyweight so low. Because if you look at the number 11 at featherweight, that's Edson Barboza. Look at the number 11 at flyweight. That's Tigar Aklabov. I can't even pronounce his last name, but fucking obviously, I'd rather see an Edson Barboza fight. Edson Barboza's number 11, and his last fight was a Fight Night headliner. This Tagar guy, he's not gonna headline a Fight Night unless he gets like another couple wins. But right now, if he headlines a Fight Night, everyone's just gonna be fucking shocked. But yeah, I got featherweight here. It's a solid division, entertaining division. But the divisions above it, this is where the divisions start to get crazy. These are the most stacked divisions in the UFC. So it's just got fucking crazy divisions above it. But it's a solid division. It's not a bad division at all. And it deserved a spot. It's better than divisions above it. But yeah, it's an entertaining division. It's a fun division. It's a competitive division. Next division, we got bantamweight. Sean O'Malley, Marab, Aljo, fucking Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan. It's a fun division. It's it's super competitive too. Let's look at the actual rankings for it outside of the top four. You got Marlon Vera, Cejudo, Song Yadong, Figgy, Rob Font, Jonathan Martinez, Dominic Cruz, Pedro, Umar. This division's fucking crazy, man. This division, like, when you go outside of the top five, there's still fucking crazy fighters. Song Yadong, Henry Cejudo, Figgy, fucking Umar. Like, there's still very entertaining, very exciting fighters outside of the top five that you care about seeing fight. Like, when Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt fight that got announced, that's a big fucking fight. And that's outside of the top. I think that's like, what is Figgy? He's number 8, and you still care a lot about seeing him fight. And even at the top 4, you got Marab, who's not the most entertaining, but he's a very good fighter. You got O'Malley, who's a fun champion. He's a little bit boring on the mic, but he makes up for it in the ring, or the octagon. And his fucking personality, because his personality is overrated. I'm gonna be real. O'Malley's personality is overrated by a lot of people, but people are starting to figure out it's not that crazy. But just his look, too. He's got a crazy look, so that just makes everything more exciting. You got Corey Sandhagen, whose last couple fights have been a little boring, but he's making up for it. He has making up for it in the past. Like, he's had some crazy fights against Peter Yan. He just had a lot of crazy fights in general, and I think his next fight will be a solid fight. And you got Peter Yan too, he's a very good boxer. People argue he's the best boxer in the UFC. Very all-rounded. This is a solid division, man. It's a very stacked, competitive division. Because even outside of the top 5, you've still got guys like fucking Song Yadong and Figgy. Like, Figueiredo's number 8. That's crazy. Him being number 8. Compare that to let's see, light heavyweight's number 8, which is Khalil Roundtree. Fucking this division slams. But I just think the 2 divisions above it are even more crazy. For the next division, we got welterweight. Leon Edwards is a champion. Usman, Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat, Gilbert Burns. You got a lot of prospects in this division too. You got Shavkat, Ian Gary, or Shavkat's not really a prospect, but you got a lot of up-and-coming stars. Shavkat, Ian Gary, JDM. Who else? You got a couple more guys in there too. Michael Morales right outside the rankings. And this division's just got a lot of fun fighters too. You got Shavkat, who fucking, I love seeing that dude fight. 18-0, 18 finishes. I think it's like half knockouts, half submissions, something crazy like that. And the champion, Leon Edwards, is a solid champion. A little boring, a little inactive. Maybe that's why it's not as high as the number 1 division. But you got Usman, who is just a fucking long-reigning champion. He's still in the mix there. You got Bilal, who's a little boring, but he's a good fighter. You got Gilbert Burns, who's fucking entertaining. Very entertaining to see him fight. Colby Covington, who fucking, his fights aren't the most entertaining, but for the build-up and the hype, he makes up for it. Whenever a Colby Covington fight gets announced, I'm excited. Ian Gary, good up-and-coming star. Sean Brady, who's a little bit of up-and-coming guy too. Stephen Thompson, Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque, JDM, Neil Magny, Kevin Holland, Michael Chiesa, Rick Knott. Like, this division, you could have a case for this being number 1. But yeah, it's a very exciting division. Like, whenever, like, even lower in the rankings too. Whenever Kevin Holland gets announced to fight, he's number 13. He's almost not ranked. And he's always a main card fighter. He's always on the main card. So it just goes to show how that this division is fucking stacked. It's got a lot of good guys in here. Got a lot of entertaining guys in here. Got a lot of hyped guys in here. But the number 1 division, lightweight. You can't beat it. Islam Makhachev is a champion who people say, oh, he's boring. He's not fucking boring. That dude, every time he fights, last fight, Volkanovski, first round head kick knockout. Exciting. Last fight before that, Volkanovski, war. Fight before that, dismantled Charles Oliveira, dropped him on the feet, made it entertaining the whole fight. Even the grappling exchanges between him and Charles were entertaining. Fight before that, Bobby Green, first round finish, entertaining. Fight before that, Dan Hooker, first round finish, entertaining. He makes it entertaining all the time, so You can't hate on him, and he's a very good champion. He's super skilled. I think he's the most skilled champion in the UFC right now. So you can't hate on him. He's a fucking very good fighter. Charles Oliveira always makes shit super entertaining. He doesn't have good defense, but that's what makes him an entertaining fighter. Because he's got a fucking shit ton of power. He's very dangerous on the ground, and he has bad defense. That's why he gets into wars like guys with Gaethje and Poirier. That's why he gets into wars with those guys. And then speaking of Gaethje and Poirier, two fucking very entertaining fighters too. Amazing strikers with a lot of power that make fights fun. Arman Sarukian, good up and coming fighter he makes things fun on the ground too. Because even the grapplers in this division. See, this is why when comparing it to a division like welterweight, the grapplers in this division just make it more fun. Islam, Charles, Arman, they all make it fun on the ground. And when they're in the feet, it's fun too. Like Arman's starting to, at first I thought he was pillow fisted. But that Beneil Dariush fight, he's starting to show a little bit of power. He's starting to show that his striking's getting better. The guys in this division are very well-rounded, and it's the same thing as welterweight, where if you look at number 10 fight, Dan Hooker, number 9 fight, Jalen Turner, whenever those guys get fight, they're a main card fighter, always. They're probably like, sometimes even the feature fight on a main card, and they're only number 10 or 9. Fiziev, number 8. Beneil Dariush, number 7. Rafael Fiziev, number 11. Benoit Saint Denis, number 12. Moicano, number 13. Bobby Green, like this division, it's got a ton of entertaining fighters. Almost everybody in this division's entertaining. RDA, he's not super entertaining anymore, but Mateus Gamrot, a little boring, but everybody else is very entertaining. This is all fucking a division full of great fighters, skilled fighters, entertaining fighters. It's got an amazing champion, and the top 5 is just fucking insane with entertainment. Michael Chandler, he's arguably the most entertaining fighter in the UFC right now. Same with Charles Oliveira. Same with Gaethje. If you look at the top 5 most entertaining fighters in the UFC right now, 2 or 3 of them are just in this division. Probably 3 of them. So overall, let me know what you guys think about my list. Leave in the comments below what you guys think about it. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Do you guys think I'm fucking overrating some divisions? Do you guys think I'm underrating some divisions? Do you think I'm just a casual? Let me know in the comments.